All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Elite 100. What's happening, guys? Hopefully, you guys are having an amazing week. Hopefully, you had an amazing weekend. Today is going to be absolutely fire. Super excited. I see some of you guys brought your marketing teams on, which is good. We have a very special guest. He's a member of the group, but some of you may not know him. Some of you newer people. But before we get going, why don't we share some wins? Mr. Gulixson, what do you have for a win?
Hey,
Hey,
I got awesome wins.
I know you do.
Yeah. I am grateful to be in the group. That is a win. I am we're taking great strides in our business and making changes. I'm live Forex trading. I'm alive. I eat healthy. I'm married to a beautiful wife. My family is a blessing, and those are my wins.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Yun, what about you? What's a good win?
Thank you. Every day's a win and every moment's a win. I feel like I don't know. I'm really in love with the unknown. If you guys can't tell, I love waking up to every day expecting magic and seeing the magic unfold. Thank you to the team members that showed up, and thank you, Rudy, for hosting this. Mwah! My win is being here with you guys.
Love it. Love it. Kevin Dugan, you survived.
I'm back from the desert, survived the natural disaster out there. My win was I got engaged with Jackie, so long overdue. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, my man. Oh, that's awesome.
Beautiful, an incredible energy out there, beautiful souls, and it was definitely magic in the playa. So came back, one step closer to getting married.
That is absolutely awesome. That warms my heart, brother. Congratulations. Why don't you do the honors of reading the Mastermind principles? I'll pull them up. Let me know if you can see them okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Keep that energy going.
Okay. So I release myself to the mastermind because I'm strong when I have others to help me. I believe that the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I'm open to looking at myself, my problems, and my opportunities from others' points of view. I decide to release my desire totally and trust to the mastermind, and I'm open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for my mistakes I've made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so that I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires. And I hear my mastermind partners support me in my fulfillment. I accept, I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I'm grateful knowing that this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a successful, filled, and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with the spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, brother. Good energy. I just wanted to compound off of that from your engagement, and I'm happy to do that. So I want to cut right to the chase today. I want to bring a dear friend of mine. He's a member of the group. Some of you that are newer might not have met Rudy yet, but him and I have become close friends. This gentleman is on the billionaire track, no questions asked. Every moment of every day, he's doing things in his marketing company, his capital company. He's hanging out playing tennis with Richard Branson on Necker Island. Like, he's rubbing elbows with billionaires. He's worked with Grant. He's worked with Floyd Mayweather, Les Brown. He's a marketing genius by all rights, and he's in our group here, and he agreed to come work with us today, just talking about marketing and branding and all things. And I think that's why I wanted you guys to bring your teams on too, because you may have people in your teams that are doing some of the components that he might suggest here today. So I'm going to get right to it, Rudy. I gave you a screen share, Rudy Mawer. Come front and center and let us know what you're going to do.
Yeah, love it. Hey guys, what's up? How is everyone doing? Welcome. Thanks for coming on and thanks for having me on. Just to kick off, I would love to get to know you guys a little. Maybe put in chat if you can tell me what your main goal in business is and what your business does for 30 seconds. I want to make sure I tailor this to you. And if you ask me questions at the end, I know have a better understanding of your business. I've got a great presentation set up. Hopefully it will kind of, obviously there's a lot of mindset stuff here. So hopefully this presentation will change your mindset a little when it comes to building brands, how to market best, how to scale brands, how to grow online, how to make money online, and all of those things. So I know you guys are all kinds of, different companies and investments and all of those things, but hopefully this will be big picture enough that most of you get some sort of value from it and some takeaways. So I will go ahead, share my screen, go through it. It's about a 30-minute presentation, not crazy long. And then I wanted to save time for Q&A at the end so we can cover questions and stuff. So let me just share this while you guys are putting in into the chat what your business does or how you make money. I know it's a mix. So topic for today that I wanted to cover is best known beats best. And I'm going to explain what that means and why the world's changing throughout. So take a look at these two guys. Most people don't know the guy on the left, John, right? But he's the creator of the Coca-Cola formula, sold it for about $300. And then the guy in the middle, he did a little better, right? He founded the company, right? Coca-Cola company, sold it for about 25 million. And nowadays on the right, everyone knows the guy on the right, okay? The can of red Coca-Cola, obviously a very well-known brand, whether you love or hate it. The point of this is it's now valued at over 200 billion. So the big difference here is, the guy on the left, arguably gave the secret formula, the secret recipe that you may have heard. Now only 2 people have it and they can't ever fly on the same plane in case the plane crashes. But he only got $300 for being the expert, right? For being the creator. And then, the person that actually built a business around it got 25 million, many years ago. So that would be worth a lot more these days. But now the company's jumped and is worth over $200 billion. And that's going to be the president of what I'm talking about and teaching today is it's not good enough anymore. And you're leaving, you have a big disadvantage. You're leaving a lot of money on the table if you're just the creator, if you're just the inventor, if you're just the expert, which a lot of people are these days. And I work with thousands of clients, from celebrities to startups and everywhere in between, Fortune 500 companies. And the people that are doing tens and tens of millions of dollars online with their business, they are able to have more of that mass influence and build the brand like Coca-Cola as a company. And sadly, a lot of people that are more like the person on the left that are super smart, experts at what they do, have a world-class product or service, they're not able to get the exposure. They're not able to get the attention. They're not able to thrive in this online space. So they're sat there frustrated and they're sat there wondering, hey, I'm great at what I do. How is it this company or person or product out there that's inferior to mine is making tens of millions and mine isn't, right? And I don't know if any of you have ever felt that question or that pain or asked yourself that question, but I did about 10 years ago. And I was, my first business, I was very good at what I did. And I saw these other people that were nowhere near as good as me, and they were making tons of money. And I was frustrated, a couple of years trying to figure out how to do it. And then eventually I cracked the code and learned social media and marketing and ads and all those things, and went on and made tens of millions of dollars myself and my own company and all of those things. So, I've studied business a lot in the last few years in terms of how it's adapting and adjusting to celebrities, influencers, social media, what I call the new way of marketing and growing a business. And there's a new trend that's making people very rich in a very short amount of time, shorter amount of time to become billionaires, shorter amount of time to hit 100 million than ever before. And I really believe the way businesses are being built is changing. And if you go back a generation or two, you said to your parents or grandparents, how's wealth created? They would say things like this. They'd say, well, you got to invest in real estate, go to college, get a high paid job, lawyer, doctor, accountant, all those things, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those jobs or going to college or investing in real estate. And actually, most people that make a lot of money put their money in real estate. But, this isn't the only way to become rich these days, right? Most of us on this call today have figured out better ways to become rich and successful and have more freedom and have our own businesses. So the world's definitely changed, and it's changing again now because of social media, because of how prominent places like YouTube and the influencers on these platforms are becoming, and also because of AI, right? AI is going to be that next wave that we're already doing a ton with, and it's going to further push forward online businesses. So this guy, I don't know if you guys know who Mr. Beast is. Who knows who this guy is here? Anyone? So he's in his mid-20s, built a biggest YouTube channel, or top 2, got valued at over $1 billion in his mid-20s. Okay. And he actually apparently got $1 billion offer, turned it down. So he's figured out, hey, if I can own a space, own a channel, own influence, then I can create almost anything I want. And if you go to his channel, you'll see he's selling $50 candy bars, right? So if this guy can sell candy for $50 a bar, you guys can pretty much sell anything at this point. And what's the difference between him selling $50 candy bars and everyone else is, well, he can do that because he has the tribe, the influence, and the attention. Okay. And there's a lot of people that have superior products that don't have any of that, and they can't sell any of their own product. So why are the people younger than ever becoming millionaires and even billionaires today, right? And obviously the answer is the adaptation of technology, social media, influence, and attention. And what I teach a lot to our members is the ability to hold attention and influence is, in my opinion, the new real estate. So if you go back 50, 100 years, the richest people were, they own all the farmland, or they own all the coastal properties by the beach. They own all the restaurants in the main city in town, or the office blocks, right? That was the rich person in that area, or the wealthy people. Now it's actually, hey, they own 5 million people YouTube channel, or they own this big of an email list, or they have this big a community. So it's kind of changed how we look at value, right? And why is because we've realized that if you have a big following, right, or the ability to, even without a following, the ability to reach millions of people, it's immensely valuable. It's like owning some prime real estate in Times Square, or in central London, or in the beach on Miami, right? This prime real estate is so valuable online because of what you can do with it. So one interesting thing I like to look at is even the celebrities, right? So some of the biggest celebrities that have been in the industry 20 years are making more in 2 or 3 years than they did in 20 years of their main career, right? So Rihanna's a good example, very famous artist, launched Fenty Beauty, and she was making in music up to about $70 million per year. So it's not bad, right? Most of us here would be happy with doing $70 million a year. But then the brand raised 115 mil, got $1 billion valuation, and she'll probably make billions of dollars from this line, right? Fenty Beauty. So she'd have had to work for 15, 20 years in her main career versus what she's going to create in 2 or 3 years from the brand. Same for Beats, right? Most of you have heard or seen Beats, or maybe own Beats. He was earning maybe 50 mil a year, and then Beats, grew really successfully, sold for $2.6 billion. And he also got 400 million stock. And this case remains pretty much a lot of the big celebrities at this point. Obviously, Kanye West, he grew a massive one of the biggest companies. Obviously, he's lost a lot of it now, but he grew a massive company. Beats is obviously the example I just went through, and all these other celebrities. Obviously, the Kardashians are well known for it. And a lot of these celebrities are realizing, hey, I can go on and make way more money versus acting or singing or producing. I can make way more money just taking my following and then building a brand behind it. And how this relates for you guys is one of 2 things, right? So number one is you want to figure out, how do I start owning some of this online real estate, right? And if you're more of a behind the scenes person, that's fine, because you then want to go, well, how do I partner and work with people that own all this big online real estate that can 10x what I'm currently doing right now? Because most of your guys' biggest problem is the opposite of these people, right? And a lot of these people's biggest problem is what you're great at. So your biggest problem for most of you is visibility, right? It's getting eyeballs and attention on what you do. And I always ask a question: if you guys got if I gave you 1 million clicks tomorrow to your website or your products or your service, or you got 1 million leads that were somewhat qualified, how much more money would you make? You probably will make a lot of money, right? Whereas the people that are super famous that have this big online real estate, the celebrities, most of them don't have the business acumen or the products or the service like you guys do, right? They don't know, hey, how do I turn this into a successful thing? And that's why, you know, one of my companies is we partner with celebrities and we build online brands for them, because they've spent years building the online platform, and now we can build the online business models to support all the influence they have. So a couple of examples: we've done stuff with Floyd, a lot of famous wrestlers, a couple of other bigger celebrities, that some of your favorite actors that I can't name. So, you know, most of you in this room today, right? You're experts at something. You're great at what you do, right? You have a great product, a great service. You're doing well in your business. But what's really important to understand is it could be 10 times bigger if you could just get the eyeballs, right? If you could get more of the attention and you could own more of that online real estate, right? That online influence. So how do we get there? I'm going to give you kind of 6 fundamental principles that we teach to kind of focus on if you want to start building that online brand. So first thing I say is figure out unique selling point, right? So what is it that you're going to become well known for? Kevin Hart, you know, one of the most successful actors, became very famous in the early days for all of his comedy, right? Tony Robbins, one of the most famous motivational speakers. He became very famous for holding his massive events and, you know, 15-hour-long days and walking across fire and, you know, making people laugh and cry within the same minute window. So how do you become the Tony Robbins of what you do? How do you become well known as a go-to expert or the industry leader in what you do, right? And one of my focuses is, you know, we teach marketing, how to make money online, and we're working to become super well known, one of the most well known in that space. So it's really important you have a clear, unique selling point. So I want you guys to, while I go through this for 2-3 minutes in chat, right, in the Zoom chat, tell me what is your unique selling point, right? And if you're on as a staff member to an owner, please chip in as well. Please contribute. What is it? And you might have a different answer compared to the CEO or the owner. That's also okay. What is it that you guys do? What is your unique selling point, right? Because I asked you at the start intentionally, hey, what do you guys do, right? And you guys gave me a mix of things. But now if I was asking your unique selling point, right? So imagine this is like a headline on a website or your elevator pitch, right? What is it that you guys do? What is your unique selling point? So I'll give you 2 minutes, put it in chat for me, and then I'll go through this. So Brian, we teach entrepreneurs how to think, act, and operate like the top 1%. Yeah, I love that. So what is it that you guys do? Try and be clean, concise, to the point, 3rd grade level, but also enticing enough, right? And if you're having a hard time thinking about this, or you don't really have it clear in your head, the way we teach it with this unique selling point sort of diagram here is you obviously want to take what you do well, right? Then you want to take the next part is what does the competition do, right? You got to understand where the industry's at, what most people are selling, what most people are doing. And then you want to look at what do your customers really care about, because often in life, what you think is important is not actually exactly the same for your customers. So you always want to check that. And then you go, okay, so I do this really well. Everyone else in the industry is teaching this. My customers really care about this. And there's this kind of like blue ocean opportunity where I can become the go-to expert or go-to brand in this one area. my customers all really want this, and it's not many people are doing it, right? And that's like an easy way to start. You know, we call it a sweet spot on here, because you're great at delivering it, whether it's a product or service, your customers really want it, and there's not a ton of competition. So always try and think, right, in that kind of framework. And obviously you can sell stuff that everyone else is selling. It doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means it's generally a little harder, and you got to be really good at marketing and all the other stuff to kind of push through the noise, right? Me as a company, we sell a lot of things that other people are selling that are saturated, but we're world class at the advertising, the marketing, putting it all together. So next is your character or brand identity, right? So in our space, you know, this internet marketing world that I live in, we have Gary Vee, right? He became very famous for his no BS, hustle, like bluntness, right? Grant Cardone, another, you know, very famous entrepreneur that is a prime example of everything I'm teaching today, who, you know, if you don't know him, he became very famous in this space, and then he took all his followers and he raised a $4 billion fund. So Grant's become very successful, right? But he started with an identity. His identity, which he built a tribe around, was 10x. Okay. Tony Robbins, like I said, he's got his like walk on fire, you know, big, loud, motivational, changing thousands of lives, major events, and he's done that for many, many years. And then, you know, what we're building for my own brand and ourselves is the red life. I wear red, all my staff wear red, our offices are red. And it's a play on the matrix that we want to show people how to take the red pill and live in Wonderland and break the norm, right? So everything that your brand does, whether it's an e-commerce brand, a service brand, whatever it is, you want to try and create an identity. And it's obviously easier for personal brands a little more, but identities can be created just for big brands too. So Louis Vuitton and Gucci and designer brands, they all have very clear identities, right? Lamborghini and Ferrari, they all have very clear identities. Whole Foods has a clear identity. Lululemon has a clear identity. So it's very easy to still build identities, even if you're not selling, you know, even if you're not a speaker or a personal brand, but you want to create an identity because you want to create stuff that people can align around. People can say, that's my group, that's my tribe. It's super important. Okay. So things to consider when you're thinking about your identity, and I want you to write next question in the chat. What is the brand identity that you guys are building? Okay. So what is it that if we asked your customers, right, and you know, you asked your friends and family maybe, what is the identity of yourself, your brand, your customers? So spend a couple of minutes thinking about that. I'm just going to go through these. So first one is, you know, define your brand values, your goal, right? What core principles you surround yourself, purpose, and your audience. Next is visual cues, right? Is there visual cues that will catch people's attention? So again, Grant Cardone has his 10x, right? Whenever you see a 10x, he basically owns that word now, or that phrase. And everyone thinks of Grant Cardone, and you walk through an airport and you see people with a 10x hat, and that's great because it shows he's building a tribe. Visual clues, cues are, you know, maybe the famous grill on a Rolls Royce, right? Or the Louis Vuitton bags, right? And the Gucci, they all have a very famous, well-known pattern recognition. So visual cues are easy to achieve in many aspects, right? When you think of Zoom, right, what we're on right now, you think of that little blue bubble, right, with the camera on it. So what visual cues can you build around your brand? Story/narrative, okay? People want to buy into a story. Every human beings at our core, we love stories. We're told stories from when we're born, and we grew up, you know, through generations and through history, right, around stories. So you want to create a compelling brand voice and story that your audience buy into, right? And Grant Cardone's, again, to keep referencing him as an example, you know, he was a salesman, so he attracts a lot of salespeople. He was a drug addict, right? And he recovered from all of that, turned his life around. So he attracts certain people through his story and his core principles. So have a think, what is your story? Who do you attract? Who resonates with you? Next, once you've got those, it's consistency, right? It's kind of like the first few parts are like a workout plan. but now you have to go and execute and go to the gym for a couple of years and just stay consistent no matter what. And it's like the gym, it's hard to do because it's not like you go to the gym one time, you look in the mirror and you don't look any leaner, right? Or more muscular. It's kind of the same with social media. This is something you have to have a trust in and a belief system around for the next couple of years that, hey, if I start putting all this out and I work to build my email list and I work to build my online platform, and it doesn't mean all of you are going to have millions of followers. There's some people that have a major tribe, but they don't have many followers. They just have a massive email list and they host events around the world or whatever that might be. They just have a big Twitter or just have a big YouTube. So you've got to be consistent and really push to try and start owning a channel. Okay. So owning a channel could be, hey, I have a big email list and everyone has I have a daily newsletter that people open every day and people love it. And I have tens of thousands of subscribers and it makes millions of dollars a year. Or, hey, I have a big YouTube channel. Or I'm a best-selling author and I have tons of bestsellers with, thousands of books sold. So you've got to be consistent to get that message out there. And the final part, like I said, is building it big enough that the tribe starts to build it for you. So think of some brands that happens with, right? I think Louis Vuitton, Gucci, some of these designer brands are genius in that because I always say, what's the first thing that happens when someone buys a new handbag from Louis Vuitton or Gucci? What's the first thing they do, right? They post it and promote it. And then every time they take it out, right, they, generally with social media these days, they'll get a photo with it. So that company has built this community and tribe that promotes itself, right? And Burberry and all these brands are the same. Same with Lamborghini, same with Ferrari, same with Rolls-Royce. So they're able to build this kind of tribe that sells for them. That's the best thing. If you guys can create these communities and tribes where people are actually selling for you, you kind of elevate yourself to this whole new level. And obviously in terms of revenue, your revenue is going to jump up and you have less cost because you're not even running the ads, right? In the early days, you have to run the ads and do all the hard work. Over time, your stuff will start selling by itself. So this is a good example, right? Liquid Death became very famous at like concerts and festivals. And, if you're wondering, well, Rudy, can I do this for my brand? I wanted to include Liquid Death because they grew to 700 million. And people say they have the stupidest name, and if you didn't know what it is, it's water. It's canned water. Okay, so if they can build a $700 million water company and they can build a tribe around it, hopefully you guys understand and now believe that you could probably do some capacity for your own business, even if it's different, right? So next is consistency. Like I said, it's the boring pays off in business many times, as many of you know. And, you might get a few big wins along the way, but generally success is lots of little things. So a good example is The Rock, right? One of the most famous actors in the world, celebrities. He used to get paid $40, right? To wrestle. Now he gets paid $20 million per movie. So start today, keep going, stay consistent, right? The great thing about social media and the internet and AI is it doesn't have to take 20, 30, 50 years like it did 20 years ago. Now it can happen much, much quicker, much, much quicker. Monetization, right? So that's the big next thing is, hey, I started to build this tribe, this community. How do I monetize it? How do I create new products? How do I be strategic in how I'm using this tribe and influence that I have? Kardashians are a great example. Shaq, famous basketball player. He's very famous in business because he's got his kind of hands in everything, right? He owns a ton of franchises. He's always on TV doing sponsorships. So think about like, hey, as I develop this ecosystem, what other products and services are complementary? Okay. And Kardashians are probably the best example of this. They had a very intentional plan, especially their mom, of building this big, famous name behind them. And then they were very clear in how they were launching and building e-commerce brands around that. Okay. So great. A lot of people hate them and they obviously are very controversial sometimes, but it's fascinating to look at how they structure things, how they promote things. And they're obviously super successful now. So number 5, use your ability to influence, right? So you have a product, you have a service. How do I now get it out to people? Well, there's hundreds of ways, right? You can host live events, webinars, you can run live challenges, you can run in-person challenges, virtual challenges, you can have a ton of affiliates, like all promoting for you, which is kind of like how MLMs do, right? I'm not saying an MLM, but you can have affiliates selling your products and services. You can go on big podcast tours, you can do book launches, you can build lead magnets and lead generation and get hundreds of leads a day. And you can sell your buyers and cross-sell your buyers and increase lifetime value by, you know, kind of having a product stack and an ecosystem, which is what a lot of the biggest brands do. If you look at Louis Vuitton's example, you come in and buy a bag, you buy your first bag, but then you come back and buy more bags, and then you get shades and scarves and clothes and t-shirts. So it's really important you have that lifetime value with your customers too. Number 6, last but most important, is be everywhere, okay? Because the online space is the biggest and best opportunity to grow, but it's also the most competitive. So how can you be everywhere? How can you grow an email list, be running Facebook ads on Facebook, Instagram, growing an Instagram channel, growing a YouTube channel, on TikTok, running live events, getting on TV, right? Being in all the industry magazines and at industry events. So if you really want to own a space, you really want to become known as a go-to or a big brand, you want to be in multiple places, not just one place. Now, of course, you might not start and do all of these on day one, but over time, you want to try and own each little area. So as you're growing, you're getting that omnipresence effect. You're getting that snowball effect, because what happens when you start to do that is it compounds, right? So customers or fans or tribes see you on Facebook, and then they see you on Instagram, then they watch a YouTube video, and then they, you know, a few months later, they're at your live event, and then they see you in their favorite magazine, and then they're getting your emails every day. So that's how you thrive online, is staying top of mind, or what we call omnipresent, okay? So what are you guys working on right now? This is a question to you. So I would love to see in the chat, if anything, what are you working on right now to increase your exposure for your brand, your product, and your services? Are you on social media? Are you running ads? Do you have a big sales team? How are you building your online tribe, right? How are you building exposure? How are you getting attention to your brand? Or are you doing nothing? Are you just starting out with that side? And I understand some of you, maybe, you know, you just do investments and stuff. So it might not be as obvious what you need to do, but even, you know, if you're an investor, for example, then you could argue, hey, if I became known as a, you know, an investor in these types of businesses, and I talked about what I invest in, why I invest in those things, and all of these things, then over time, you probably get a lot more deal flow. You probably get better investments, right? You'd probably get, you know, have more opportunity to get in earlier deals. So it's pretty much beneficial. It's hard to, you know, we work with attorneys, we work with dentists, we work with manufacturing companies, we work obviously with authors, experts, influencers, celebrities, athletes, all different e-commerce brands, software companies, right? Because nearly every industry, you're always going to win if you're the go-to, right? Think about, why is Coca-Cola? I go to a lot of restaurants in Miami. I would say out of 20 restaurants, Pepsi is in 1 or 2, Coca-Cola is in 18 or 19. So who's going to win that game over time, right? Coca-Cola. So you've got to always kind of see, in nearly every industry, there's a big benefit to this. So let me see what you guys put. So just starting out, Joe, direct sales, affiliates, paid ads in 2 weeks. That's great. Brian, socials, YouTube referrals, Mastermind, running ads. Okay, building up 3 different verticals. Great. Email list, social media. Yeah, good. So super important that you start today. Obviously, like anything in life, half of it is consistency, half of it is direction and strategy, right? Because you can be consistent, but if you're walking in the wrong direction, you're never going to get to the right place. And the same with strategy, right? You can have the best strategy, but if you only do it once a week, you're not going to ever get there, right? So you need consistency combined with the right strategy and direction. So I want you to answer this question. Obviously, I know a lot of you are already successful and doing well, but if you had 100,000 loyal followers in a tribe that loved you and they were, you know, mostly tailored to what you do in your industry, how much more would you make per year? Okay, so think about what you make now, whether you make 500,000, 2 million, 10 million, 20 million, or you're just starting out. If I gave you tomorrow 100,000 followers that were loyal, they were interested in your products and services, some of them were customers, how much more in gross revenue would you make next year in 12 months from tomorrow if with those new 100,000 followers on any channel you wanted, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, email list, whatever that is? Just put a number in the chat. There's no right or wrong. Some of you will be 50 grand, some of you will be 50 million, right? What do you think for your brand? How much more would you make from those 100,000 followers? And this number will differ for what you're selling, right? Products you're selling, how specific it is, lifetime value, average order value, product costs, margins, all those things. Good. So yeah, anywhere from 1 million to maybe 20 million, right? 25 million. So hopefully you can see the power, right? And how much do you think it would cost you to build 100,000 followers? It wouldn't cost you anywhere close to the numbers you guys are putting in the chat, right? So if you think about it, it's just like real estate. Well, if I can invest 100,000, you know, you can, we run ads to grow content, and which in turn grows our following, and we pay like $1 a follower, right? So, and we're not buying followers in it, like we're literally running content, and then those people are choosing when they see the content, you know, 2 in 100, right? We'll click the page, click the Instagram profile, and click follow. So if you know, hey, I'm going to make $5 million or $2 million, or I guess from the 100,000 followers, and you go, well, I could build a system, a lead gen system, or a content strategy, or a shout out system where I can grow my following for $1 a follower. So it's going to cost me 100K to get 100,000 followers. An absolute worst case, I might make what? Worst case, I'm going to make 200 grand back, or 500 grand back, or $1 million back, or like some of you said, maybe even more. So, and obviously like real estate, you have to take that risk, right? You have to invest first, and then you have to make sure it grows over time. But growing, you know, these online platforms, it's just like growing an email list over the last 15, 20 years. An email's still great to grow. Like we grow our email list by 1,000 people a week. So right now we're growing at 1,000 people a week. So that's, you know, 300, it's a third of a million a year that we grow our email list by. So what's that worth to me the next year? Well, you know, it's worth probably at least $1 million. So how can you be strategic in starting to grow these tribes? You've got to be intentional, and you've obviously got to spend money, but it will pay off just like anything. So what about 1 million followers? So I asked you guys, you know, if you answered it, probably added 0 to it basically, right? So if you're able to get 1 million followers, imagine how powerful that would be. And that's why, you know, some of what we do with our celebrity brands is we're working with people with 20, 30, 40 million followers. And even the ones that have, you know, a bit less, if they're a household name, everything is better, right? You get better affiliates, you get better cost per click on your ads, you get more chance of going viral, all of these things. So there's massive potential in this. So, you know, in summary, guys, I think it's simply put down to the fact that most of you have a good product or service. Most entrepreneurs spend way too much time working on the product and service, and way too little time on the attentions and the eyeballs, right? So you really have to shift your focus once you've got a good product and service. And I taught this to my members yesterday, actually. I said, look, if you've got a great product and service, then 80% of your time now needs to be spent on marketing and promotions and sales. It's the only thing you're missing. And you need to wake up every day and go, how do I get more attention? How do I get more eyeballs? How do I build a tribe? How do I build a community? Okay. I really believe that is the future. You know, a lot of social media and marketing experts, you know, believe that YouTube will take over TV. It already has kind of started, especially if you look at the teenagers, the next generation, they watch more YouTube than TV. So hopefully that kind of hits home with you guys on some of the next steps. And like everything in life, right, you have two choices. In my world, you take the red pill or you take the blue pill. But I hope this was good today, kind of gave you some context around the future of marketing and social media and influence and attention. and hopefully reminded some of you that, hey, I have an amazing products and service. I'm great at what I do. My clients get great results. Now I just need to 10 or 100 X that, right? And I need to now get attention and eyeballs and build a tribe and influence. So that is a wrap on the presentation side. I would love to do 10, 15 minutes of questions and stuff.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rudy. That was just busily writing notes here. I'm sure my team is too. So a lot of info in a short amount of time. I absolutely love it. I'll start off. So what, in your opinion, are the current biggest bangs for the buck? Is it like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, LinkedIn, or does it depend on your vertical?
Yeah, a bit of both, right? Like, so every business, every one of you on here will have your audience, and that's why it's super important to know your audience. Your audience will be more attracted to a certain platform, right? Depends on age, demographics, all of those things. So you obviously want to be aware of that. And generally it'll be like 2 or 3 platforms, not just one. And then once you know what those 2 or 3 platforms are, you should really focus, like they can all work, right? I think Facebook ads, as I often teach, Facebook and Instagram ads are the easiest ads to start, and they're pretty broad because Instagram covers younger demographics, Facebook covers older demographics, right? So Facebook and Instagram is always a solid bet. YouTube's great. Like YouTube organic is definitely like one of the futures, I believe. Like we're really focused on building our YouTube organic over the next 2 or 3 years. Because I mean, if you can have a million followers on YouTube, you'll never worry about money again if you know what you're doing. And YouTube, the great thing about that, just like a podcast, is it nurtures people super well into your tribe, right? So I've worked with thousands of companies, and I see a massive difference to, say, a person that has 1 million Instagram and Facebook followers versus 1 million YouTube followers. The YouTube are just like, they're 10 times warmer and bigger, like tribe members, because they're spending 20, 30 minutes of video watching, right? And obviously when you watch something physical, it's you create more emotion, versus Instagram and Facebook are more like quick hits, right? And they're smaller, and it's not like either are wrong. It's like you want to combine the two, like I said. So yeah.
Awesome. What other questions do you guys have? You can pop your little hands up if you got anything for Rudy. We'll spend a couple minutes. Anybody got anything?
I'm just going back and reading some as well.
No, you got a question?
Yeah, what are some of the biggest like watch outs? What are the biggest and most common mistakes when building your digital brand?
Most people go way too broad to start, and then it's like what you've got to imagine is like you don't want to go and try and compete with Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or whoever the equivalents are in your industry out the gate, because you just become one of many. So what I always say is like focus more niche, go a little more niche, and then build a little tribe around that, and then you kind of go a level bigger and a level bigger and a level bigger and a level bigger. So if you look at Grant's history, for example, he was selling like actual cassettes for car sales reps. That's how he started, and he would travel around in person and sell these cassettes to car showrooms for their sales team. And so he built this little tribe eventually of car sales reps, right? And then he got into more broader sales. So everything, if you were to reverse engineer it, it's like a platform, then you go to a bigger platform, then you go to a bigger platform, then you go to a bigger one. Same for me, right? I started fitness. I started in fitness, then I became marketing for fitness. Then I became Facebook ads for most companies, health, wellness, and different companies. Now I'm going a little bigger into more broader business and marketing, and now money and influence. So everything's a platform.
Great question, Greg.
Hey, Rudy, thanks for sharing with us today. But one of the things I think most people are, like in their entrepreneurial endeavors are always, they're overwhelmed, I think, by, like, where do I start? Like, where do I begin? And, of course, the feedback provided today is super helpful. But if I hear you correctly, it's just start, be consistent, know your audience, have a consistent strategy, et cetera. Are all those truths as far as in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything in life. They're like the broad core principles. Like if, I came from health and fitness. So if you said, Rudy, how do I lose weight? It's like, well, you eat salads, eat meat, eat vegetables, work out 5 times a week, right? But then if I sat with you for an hour, I could give you an exact specific plan. So obviously if you're, just like it's good spending time, like I said, to have that more specific plan, and flush it out, right? And really dive into like everything I talked about, right? You want a bit of a playbook. Who am I serving? What's the tribe and community? What's the sort of content I'm going to put out? Who am I trying to resonate with? And then when I do that, what products am I selling from there? And am I adding in a sales team here? And am I just starting on Instagram? So that, yes, it is confusing because it's just like anything in life. There's so many variables that you do want to start tailoring. But it's like also like anything in life, something is better than nothing. So having perfectionist syndrome for a year and doing nothing is going to get you a total of 0 followers, right? Whereas putting out content that's kind of there, it's not quite right, but you're getting the idea, you're getting your reps in, you're starting to build a following, learn the algorithms, learn how it works, learn how to build email lists. It's a great start. And then just like anything in life, you might eventually go hire a consultant and says, look, I'm starting to get some traction. I'm doing all this, but it's not really where I need it. And then they can quickly come in and say, well, yeah, you need to, change all your thumbnails to this. You need to be doing more content around one specific vertical. So I don't know if that, it's a broad question, but conceptually, I don't know if that helps answer it. That yes, definitely get started, but obviously you want, like anything in life, the more you can get some accurate guidance and more of, hey, this is the playbook for you from someone like an expert like me or someone, a marketing social media person you have on your team or a consultant, that's going to get you to your destination quicker because you'll have a clearer path to success.
100%. Yeah. Thank you, Rudy.
Awesome. Chris Patterson.
Hey, Rudy. Just curious, what do you specialize in and who do you primarily serve? Who's the best candidates for you?
Yeah, we have a lot over the years now. So we do a ton of e-commerce. We work with a ton of e-commerce businesses, ton of personal brand businesses, which are all aspects, right? Finance, experts, authors, real estate, lawyers, anyone that wants to become the best at, top of their industry. Have some software businesses. It's honestly a mix these days, Fortune 500 companies, celebrities, because psychology of sales and marketing and all of that is very consistent, So we have a big mix these days of all different types of businesses because I've been doing it 12 years or so. So yeah, I don't have I'm not just e-commerce, I'm not just coaches. Over the years, we've kind of took on pretty much every kind of business. We always do better, I guess, to answer the question better. We always do better with people that can go bigger, right? So I'm not really good or do much with hey, I'm a local business and I can just serve this 2,000 people. I'm more like, hey, I want to take over the world, kind of. I want to reach the world and I want to, become a go-to expert in this, or I want to build a big supplement line, or I want to build a clothing line, or I want to, get thousands of people to my live event, or I want to, that's kind of more the worldwide audience, I guess.
Last question too, Rudy. How do we get in contact with you to get on your calendar?
Yeah, I mean, Brian has contact info, and I've a big team and a lot of marketing. So if you ever do mistakenly click my website or social media, you'll never escape me. Actually, it's the opposite. We'll be chasing you forever with our ads. But yeah, happy to, Brian and his team can connect me, or Instagram's great. I have a big team, but I still manage my own Instagram. Especially if you just tell me that you're from here. If you do use Instagram, then my team will put that in my primary tab, or Facebook Messenger or whatever as well.
Thanks, Rudy.
Pleasure.
Mr. Stolte.
Hey man, great presentation. Thank you for that. For personal branding, would you recommend one platform deep or wider across multiple platforms to start, like cascade content across?
Probably one or two. What we always say is really figure out, generally most of you, you'll have one or two obvious platforms, right? If I sat with all of you for 5 minutes, I could tell every single one of you where to start and what type of content to put out and what headlines you should do and what hooks and what site, I could tailor all that to each of you, but obviously I can't. But you'll all have one or two that fit best. And generally it's focus on that main one. And then it's pretty easy for your team to just repost, right? For example, and now there's AI software. It's we literally take my 20-minute podcasts, right? And AI will crop it into 7 60-second reels and put captions on it. And it's there's never been a better time. I have a big team. I have nearly 100 employees. So I have a massive content team, 6 video editors, 8 designers, copy team, but you don't even need that anymore, right? You literally have AI that like we do all of our content planning through ChatGPT. I do my YouTube headline ideas through there now. AI will crop. I have an AI voice generator. AI can crop and there's a whole different training. We teach a lot about AI these days for entrepreneurs. But yes, I lost track of the question. One platform, yes, pick 1 or 2 to start, and you can repost it to the other ones because you're already generating the content.
Cool. And then like, I guess a more specific question then is, would you, pretty clear that YouTube IG is where we want to go. Would you optimize for YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube IG are probably the 2 super strong for most people. YouTube is a very hard, long game. Like it's really about quality, and like YouTube, you almost have to look at it like, hey, I'm going to spend a lot of time like fully producing these videos. We're just relaunching a big YouTube channel, and I've hired a bunch of consultants and gone all in, and we spend like 10 hours a video just for context on like editing and planning, and then I spend an hour filming it, and it's only a 7-minute video. So that's like, but that's because I really want to get 1 million people there, so I'm like all in on that. But yeah, YouTube's great. It'll take longer. Instagram is less time, quicker results, and it's actually easier to monetize. Like we make 50, 100, 200 grand a month just from our Instagram. And we grow it at the same time. So it's literally, I'm getting paid to grow it, right? Because I built like a lead gen system behind it.
Cool. Thanks.
Kevin, Dugan?
Yeah, thanks a ton, Rudy. Incredible, valuable information. Did you have like milestone breakthroughs, like where you went viral at one moment, or is it just like consistent clarity in your content where it just like stacked over time? Like what are you seeing with your clients and yourself?
Yeah, never really went viral. And even, I'm friends with a lot of the biggest, Instagrammers, YouTubers, TikTokers, even the ones that go viral, I'll ask them and they'll show me, and they might get 20,000 followers from one video that went viral, but it's not like, it's still the slow and steady that really builds it, right? So it really is like content. I love paid ads. I'm a paid ads guy, and I never used to bother with organic because it was so slow. So, but now I see it like, organic and growing it is like your safe real estate. You're going to buy it and it'll mature over time, and it's pretty safe. Whereas ads are more like day trading, right? Like they're just, like quick hits and stuff like that. So yeah, just commit to it, pick the channel, and then build it slowly. And then if like me, you want to get quicker results, I use paid ads a lot, and I just try and figure out, like I said, how can I run my ads where I'm growing organic followers from them and making money at the same time? Because that to me is the holy grail of advertising and creating content. Is if you can grow your following and make money from it, then you can spend infinite amounts, right?
How many times were you producing content daily to begin with versus now? I'm sure it's
batch now. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked batching because I've always had a big team, but yeah, we're always on it, and we'll change posts, and even these days I'll decide on my Instagram, I'm going to just post this today. I want to post this. Or I had this cool idea. So yeah, definitely try and batch it and build a bit of a framework, and then over time you can automate it more.
Gotcha. Thanks, Rudy.
Pleasure.
Tyler?
Yeah, so my question is when you are starting to promote content with paid ads, what type of content would you typically recommend you promote? Would it just be like content that is solely putting out value, or would it be like some type of promotional ad that's like driving people to your products, or maybe
yeah, 100% both. So what we'll generally do is we'll always take our best organic content and then we'll run ads behind it to help blow it up. You actually don't want to do that on YouTube because then the algorithm will hurt your organic over time. But for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that, taking your best organic and running some small ad spend behind it will help it go get a lot more reach. And then of course, most of our spend is like the product-based stuff where, maybe it's a live event. We're promoting a live virtual event next week. We'll spend 20 grand on it and we'll make 40 grand at the event. But at the same time, we got 1,000 emails, right? Which is worth money too. And then, same for selling products too. When we're running sales for products, we'll still grow the following a little because people will be buying it and following me and joining the Facebook group and the live calls, and that's slowly growing your community.
Nice, love that. Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this one here, Mr. Trey Raw.
Hey, thank you so much. What's your favorite color?
Actually, when I speak on stage, I wear a big fluffy red coat on stage. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see. I always start it off, I say, hey, I'm just gonna get two big questions out of the way for you all. Yes, red is my favorite color, and yes, I'm very hot in this big fluffy red coat.
That is hilarious. I love it. So we have a fun brand that's very, celebratory and fun, and we get a lot of compliments on it. But you have yours dialed up to a whole other level. And so I'm curious, what's the thinking behind it? I know that there's some thinking beneath the surface. Why do what you do? I love it, by the way. It's very memorable, and psychologically read as excitement. But tell me about some of the thinking behind it.
Well, it's attention grabbing. It's different for us. My whole life I've always been different, right? So it's different. It's almost against the norm. It's like the whole red pill theme, but also it's just I've realized the more I dived into content and organic and stuff, you have to be an extreme to win at the game, right? So if you look at the Kardashians, an extreme. Jake and Logan Paul, extreme. Mr. Beast, he's burning 1,000 Lambos or making 2,000 people paying for their surgery so they're not deaf anymore, or he's recreating Squid Games. So it's like you have, if you really want it, and not all of you have to do this. Like I want to have like tens of millions of followers, so it's like you have to go to a crazy extreme, basically.
Man, I love that. That makes me think of the saying, like, start with crazy and work back.
Yeah, it's literally true. Like the crazier extreme, and I'm not even at like every month I try and go crazier. Like right now, for example, we have calls with my HR attorney, employment attorney, on like whether we want to create skits like Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay, and we're like, how can we get away with this without getting a bunch of lawsuits, right? So it's like every month we're like trying to up the crazy, because that's what people want, right? People want, that's why reality TV works, is people want crazy. It's just the world we live in.
I love it. Thanks for
Ivan. What about you, brother?
Hey, Rudy, how are you, brother?
What's up?
Awesome, my friend. Just congratulations on the presentation. And as you know, I am in the UK, stable from now till the end of the year, establishing the family office here. Let's make a red family office in the UK together.
Yes, I'll be there in a month's time, actually.
Okay, so yeah, contact me, and we will be in touch. Brian will set it up so we can see what we can play together here.
Love it. Yeah, guys, love being here. Hopefully it got the cogs going, right? Helping you think a little differently, and pushing a lot of you that have probably thought about it for a long time and not took action to just get started. I do have to jump to a call with Les Brown now, actually, but this was a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys got a lot of value, and I'll be here, and obviously you can connect with me, and any follow-up questions. I have tons of training, so let me know, and I might be able to send you another hour on a specific thing around Instagram or YouTube, or however I can help you guys. I would love to.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rudy, for showing up. This was
Rudy.
Tons of value. I know you got to run to go see Les, so thanks for your time. And if anybody wants to connect with Rudy, just reach out. Like I said, there's 100 ways, and as soon as you do, you're gonna get very much followed up with.
And we, if you're in Florida or London, we have 2 events coming up. So Brian, anyone's welcome to join there. We can get a few.
Yeah, we should. We'll get the info posted in the WhatsApp group for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.
Have a great week, everybody.